No matter how many clients I work with or how many times I hear of other people's really positive experiences where they've been able to make differences in their lives to improve things a little bit, whether it's in, there was a goal or a project they wanted to make happen and they hadn't been, and then they did and they were well on their way, or something like a relationship that wasn't really satisfying for them and they were able to notice a big change. They made that happen. I continue to be very pleasantly amazed and still kind of surprised that the solutions are really pretty simple. Yeah, they require some effort, some paying attention, and some sort of consistent action to make sure that happens. But it's not the complicated stuff. It's not rocket science. It's really what it comes down to, for the most part, a big part of it, especially if you hear about people who have worked with personal development folks, or they've done more like individual coaching like what I do. When you say to them afterwards, so what was it like, tell me what the magic of this was, because things are really different. I know you just seem a lot happier. People will say, well, it came down to a lot of stuff, like some tools and techniques that I learned how to apply. One, to be aware of kind of how I operate in the world, but most importantly, really to just put some best practices into place. Now, there are a lot of things that you do, particularly with the kind of the coaching experience that I offer to people. Many things, like we look at habits and behaviors and best practices, all of that. But today, what I want to focus on is a big one, because I know you've heard about it a lot. And I think people don't often understand the power in knowing what your mindsets are in your life, the ones that are working great, shore them up. But many people, when they start to talk about the things that they really want to make happen in their lives and they haven't, or they're just feeling distress or discomfort in areas of their lives, like I said before, with the relationships, or things like with their physical well-being, where they kind of know, and they even know the plans, they're not making it happen because they don't know how many programs are out there that they have readily accessible. They just haven't done it. Often the place that they find most helpful and where they're able to make the biggest changes are looking at what their mindset is. So what I want to do today is flesh out, what is a mindset? You hear about it, but I don't know if you really know, because then when you become aware of your own, you can look to change the aspects of your mindset that don't work for you. Make sense? Cool. So to begin with, what I'd like to do, and I've actually put an exercise that I'm going to say right away, because I don't want to forget to tell you about it. And so that, you check out my blog. That's at my website, leeotiskulke.com. I'm going to talk you through the general, the experience of how you could get started looking at the parts of your mindsets in various areas of your life that aren't working so well, they're holding you back. But there's the actual exercise I developed, which is awesome because it's very easy to follow, and it could get you started as soon as you do it, knowing a lot more about the stuff, the way that you're thinking that's getting in your way. So make sure you check that out after you listen to this video. And you could absolutely, it's really easy. You're going to be taking a piece of paper on your laptop. You're doing a 15-minute exercise that is very detailed in my blog post about it, and it's really awesome. And it's something that you could start today, like the most important thing that you're wanting to have be different in your life. But that exercise will help you forever and ever and ever. Whenever you find something like, yeah, I'm not really loving that, or wow, there's something I know I want, I even know the steps, but I'm not doing it. What's going on? What's holding me back? So first of all, to sort of to give you a better sense of what mindset is, because a lot of people just don't know. When you think about, let's go for an example. I want you to follow along with me. Pick an area of your life where you either know that you've been telling yourself, wow, that's something I really want to do, and you haven't. Or you started, but it's just drudgery. You're working on it, but it's something you're supposed to be enjoying a little bit. Where life's supposed to be about joy, not suffering, right? But it's just agony for you. Either that, or if there's an area that's really causing you some distress, an area of, physical, where you're not working on something the way you want to. Or big one for people is relationships. Either you got a significant relationship that's gotten a little boring, a little stale, or something that's more, in your face, somebody in your life where you're feeling like there's some conflict, and you're not sure how to go about resolving that. Whether it's with a coworker or something more in the home front, where it's just really feeling uncomfortable because somebody you want to be really connected to, like there's something going on with you too. So keep that in mind. So first of all, I want you to take a second, pick an area of your life where right now you could say, I'm just not loving it. And then what I want you to do is to know that the coolest thing about figuring out what your mindset about that experience is really, it's just about figuring out the talk, the chatter that you have, that we have going on all day long. If you can learn to be more aware of what that is, especially we're talking today about not the stuff that's working for you, but the ways that you talk to yourself about that issue that hold you back. You may also hear this in terms of people will call it, they'll say limiting beliefs. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But mindset would be, I'll give you an example. Have you picked a relationship? So let's imagine that you did that. For a lot of people, when they know darn well they're not happy about something, we always have the same fight, or this always comes up the same thing at work, and I still don't love it. You're being kind of passive. You don't really know what to do around it. You're feeling kind of powerless. The mindset, the limiting beliefs that you would have is really your plain English about what you tell yourself about it. When you notice that you're not feeling so great about it, yet you're not in action to do something different. Likely it's that sort of chatter, that running monologue that you had going that does things like, give you the example with the relationship. So I don't know how to talk to that person. If I do, I know things will never change, so it doesn't matter. I'm afraid of if I try to change that, or I'm nervous. There's sort of a lack of confidence about it, the fact that if you try it, it's going to turn out better. You could probably apply this if what you picked was an area of, hey, there is something going on. Let's say you're talking about doing something different with work. Let's say that you want a promotion, or let's say you want a raise, or let's say you want to quit your job altogether, you hate it. Or you're looking to have a career change and you're just not quite sure how to go about it. If you notice you've been feeling that for a while now, and a lot of people are walking around on this planet, going around for a while now, it's been on their minds and they're not doing anything about it. It's okay. Probably, if you were to decide that you were going to change how you're thinking about it, you could make a really big difference. I mean, what I'm talking about today is when you look at mindset and you learn to become aware of the things that you do with your thoughts to sabotage yourself. What I'm talking about is having a huge difference in your life that goes from what I would call limitation. You know, I'm not making that happen. I'm not working on that relationship. I'm either not working on that project, or I'm working on it, it's just awful, and I don't understand why I'm not making progress. Or I've got like a dream going on, and I have running through my brain that feeling of, wow, I'm not really having the life that I want. I have a dream and I don't know where to start. That's a great example of that inner chatter that you want to know about. You want to know about because that's limiting you, right? And so when we talk about changing mindset, along with some of the other things that you do when you have personal development, where you work with a coach, the other things I mentioned, like the actual behaviors of how you set up goals and how you look at, best practices, like letting go of destructive habits, costly habits, or, just developing sort of success experiences for yourself. Alongside with that mindset, we're looking at your mindset as one of the biggest things. Any of you that have done it, I'm sure that you recognize this, but if you haven't yet, it's going to be a huge part of any successful, whether you call it personal development or life coaching experience. It's a huge part, and you often start with that. So with that, what we're talking about is going from operating with a mindset that has you living a life of limitation around one or more areas, and shifting it to operating in the world from a place of possibility, from a place of confidence, from a place of whatever it is. I promise you, you can have it be different in a much more positive, productive way. It may not be exactly the way you want to be, but it's better than it is now. And that changes everything in life. And the great news about it is, I promise you, if you do this, I just had this experience recently with myself. It was so awesome. I wrote about it in my blog if you want to take a look. When I poked around and became really aware of my limiting beliefs and my mindset around something going on with work, I got what I'm going to call the bonus gift. When you're brave enough and you are just a go-getter enough to take a look at this, you will learn where that same sort of limiting experience of that negative mindset, you'll learn that it not only shows up in that area that you picked, but you'll learn that when you make a shift, it's likely showing up in other areas of your life. And I know this, I do this for a living. So I was still like, I can't even believe this. It's so exciting to me. And that's why I do this. That's why I don't do traditional counseling anymore. I do a piece of that when I work with people. So we can really do deep dives on old stuff to let go of it when we need to. But really it's all about, let's go. I get so excited. So I had it happen to me again, but I still get blown away that when I made the shift and got into action in the area of work, it ended up having the exact same thing, the exact same effect in another area of my life. So it was like this sort of bonus. I did the work of figuring out the mindset and then noticed that I started to operate that new way, that it kind of bled out into other areas in a really good way. And I want that kind of experience for you too. It's a bit like you do the snowball and you work on it, you do the work, you figure it out, you pay attention, you get into action in that new way, reflecting the positive mindset, and the snowball grows, and it's actually easier to move along because you have the momentum. So let me go back when I was talking about fleshing out what the mindset is. So now you know mindset is really a fancy term for that script that we all have going on in our heads. And for a lot of us, it's the same script. And another piece of great news is that most of us only have a couple of them. So when you figure out what it is, it's not an endless analysis for the rest of your life of, oh, what is my stinking thinking and everywhere. No, it's typically people have one or two and very similar ones. So when I'm now going to get into sort of the exercise that I told you about, look more in the blog. What I have people do is, and I want you to do is, in that area that you picked earlier, I want you to write down every single thing. Now this is going to require you, like anything, the best stuff in life comes with a little bit of effort and attention, but it's not a lot. If you sat down for 15 minutes, you could maybe do it in 5, maybe do it in 30, but isn't that worth doing to have something be really different in your life? I hope so. So you do that and you will pick your area and you'll say, what's all the stuff that when I notice, let me give you an example of something that you're stuck on or you're working on, but it's drudgery and it just ain't happen. Like let's say usually a work project. Pay attention. So get in this frame of mind where you get really clear and sort of put yourself into that experience. Or even, I don't want you to wait to do this, but the next time it happens, like you think about, oh, I'm really going to start on that fitness program. I'm really going to get started on applying for that degree. I'm really going to get started on trying to have a different experience at work. And it doesn't happen again. The way to have it be different is in that moment, you're going to pay attention and you are going to be writing down furiously every single sentence that comes into your brain. Things like, it's too hard, I can't, I don't have it within me. Those are self-limiting beliefs. Now, they're typically very similar. When you look at that, it's really what I said before, like our script. There aren't many scripts in the world. I've come up with maybe 5. And every time I talk to somebody, they start to tell me the things that go through their brain. And like, I know your script. And I want you to know, a script was something developed that you decided to carry around in your pocket. And a script is only that. It's not something that defines you. You can change it. That's where you learn to change your mindset. So, and you'll look at the blog because you'll be able to see the exercise. This is what I mean by the most impactful, powerful solutions are not complicated and they're so easy. What do? You probably already know this. You know, that's on the left-hand column of the page. The right-hand column, you go in with cold-headed logic and you just basically want you to blow holes in it and create the opposite. So, you don't need a lot of magic phrases in your life. They're incredibly powerful. Once you figure them out in this, you're going to be able to apply it to other areas. So things like, this feels too hard. It feels overwhelming. That's a negative mindset. Ain't nothing happening with that one. The positive counter to that is things like, it's a lot. I can break it into manageable pieces. I know I've done that before. It's a little bit like saying, I'm supposed to do grades 1 through 12 in a year. You'd be like, what are you, crazy? No. So that would be the negative mindset. The positive mindset would be, okay, I got 12 years. I'm going to go at a reasonable pace and I will be able to get it done. I'll figure it out. Another big one, this reflects, negative energy sucking mindset language is I can't. What's the opposite to that one? And I can't is a big one for people. I can't. I don't have it in me. I don't have what it takes. It's robbing them of their dreams, robbing them of their joy. The alternative one to that is, I wonder how I could. I can figure this out. I have within me whatever it takes. It works every single time to figure out your version of it being better than now. So that one, think about that. So that, in a nutshell, is what changing mindset is. Now, I know that then it's important that you're then going to look how to take that positive mindset and with a bunch of the other tools and, learning experience about how you operate in the world, it requires that to sort of, get into long-lasting, sustainable momentum to do it. But this is really a place to start, and I really, really want you to consider doing this. It really is that simple. So what I want to wrap up with is for you to think about that experience for yourself. It's not only the difference between whatever's going on for you right now, having less distress, less discomfort. Feel like it's that, I feel like I'm on it. Like when you're having a great day, I'm on it. No matter what the results are, I've already started and I've decided to have something be different in my life. That changes everything. That gets you forward moving, and then you get into action to actually make those results happen. Makes sense? So it's about that initial change, that you are doing something. There's a relief and a lightness and a confidence boosting momentum that happens automatically, even if you just decided that you're going to, at the end of this video, you were going to check out and do that exercise. That's the way that people make big stuff happen. I think it was Napoleon Hill who said, I'm not going to get the quote exactly, but along the lines of the big stuff in our lives. I made that part up. That's not him. I never want to misquote anybody. Essentially the big stuff in our lives, and then his part comes in, is not achieved by Herculean feats, feats by Hercules. It's by, small, consistent acts, things like using these tools. So I hope you find this helpful. And I'm excited. Check in also next week, because I realized with everything going on with the pandemic continuing, that it's been a really heavy ride, and I want to take a break from that. And really, my thoughts were to come in with both guns, because the pandemic is still hanging with us a little bit, and take a break from some of the heaviness and really come back at it with my big guns are bringing the joy so that we're reminded really that this is going to end, and that sometimes we got to bring the joy into our lives when it's not naturally just sort of happening organically. So join me next time. It's going to be for my 7-day joy challenge, and I hope you join me with it, because it makes a big difference, right? That's what we talk about when we say, look, some stuff happens in our lives, but what you do with it will make all the difference. All right, take good care.